Hello and welcome back to DevOps Fundamentals by SkillSpeed. This is the first video of section 2 in which we are going to discuss about Vagrant. In this particular video, we are going to discuss about what exactly is Vagrant, why to use Vagrant, and we will discuss a little bit about the Vagrant architecture, how exactly the workflow happens in Vagrant. So first of all, let's understand what exactly is Vagrant. Vagrant is a tool for building and managing virtual machine environments in a single workflow. What we mean by that is Vagrant builds upon the existing tools and technologies which you have, the virtualization tools like a VMware Workstation, a VirtualBox, and it takes it to a next level, and it helps you automate the virtual machine creation with the help of these virtualization technologies, and then it makes your life very easy when it comes to creating and provisioning machines. It's just a matter of a single command through which you can create a machine, and with a single command you can actually delete a machine as well. And more importantly, it gets rid of the phenomena what we know as works on my machine, which is something very common if you don't have a consistent environment. If you have developers and IT professionals working in different environments, and they are bound to face the problem, that is something which helps try eliminate that. And yes, in the process it lowers the development environment setup time, increases production parity, and makes the overall environment creation and server provisioning more consistent. It's free and open source. It is written in Ruby, and as we have spoken, this works on the existing virtualization technologies such as VMware Workstation, VMware Fusion, VirtualBox, AWS, Azure, Docker, and a lot more. You have a very good ecosystem supported by Vagrant. Important thing to understand is that Vagrant is not exactly a container technology. It's neither a virtual machine technology. It helps create production-like virtual machines and containers. So important thing is that you can create virtual machines as well as you can create containers with Vagrant. We have a brief lesson which talks about the differences between Vagrant and Docker, which is very important to understand about Vagrant. So now we have understood about what exactly Vagrant is. Let's see why we should use Vagrant, or why should we learn Vagrant. First of all, Vagrant gives you the ability to run the full stack right from your local machine. So you have a laptop on which you can create multiple machines of multiple platforms. So for example, you can have machines on a Windows platform. You can have virtual machines or containers on Linux platforms. You can use multiple flavors of these machines, and you can create a cluster of virtual machines, which is, if not impossible, it's extremely difficult to create with the traditional way if you're using VirtualBox or VMware Workstation and such other tools. It's quite easy, the kind of task it accomplishes. Considering that fact, it's quite easy to learn and implement on various platforms. It gives you repeatable and reproducible infrastructure configuration. You must have heard of something called immutable infrastructure. So Vagrant gives you that ability to turn your infrastructure into immutable infrastructure. The best part is it works with your current virtualization platform. So you don't need to get rid of your virtualization platform. Rather, you can continue to use your VirtualBox, your VMware, AWS, Docker. So existing platform, what Vagrant does, it creates a wrapper around it and makes things much easier for you to work with and to implement. And integration with configuration management tools such as Chef, Puppet, that becomes extremely easy, and it helps you in creating a provision pipeline through which you can have the production machines ready with a single command, with all the things configured for you, and user base created, packages installed, applications configured. All these things you can have beforehand with a single command with this tool. And the best part is once we have something called a Vagrant file, which we will take a look at how exactly we work with this. And what exactly you can do is that you can create a Vagrant file for your let's say developers team or IT support team or QA team, and then you can distribute that Vagrant file, and when anybody uses that particular Vagrant file to bring up a new machine, everybody will have the same type of machine irrespective of what kind of platform they are working upon. So you will have the same machine or exactly similar machine on a Mac laptop, on a Windows laptop, or on a Linux machine, or even on a cloud machine. That's the best part of working with Vagrant. So let's talk a little bit about how exactly Vagrant architecture works for us. So first thing is we have a base box. Now base box you can understand as very similar to a Docker image if you have worked on Docker, or a VMware template. Now it's like pre-configured template machine which has all the necessary configuration and packages installed and users created. So all sorts of configuration which you want to do inside a machine, you create that and you create a base box out of it. Once you have done that, from that base box, whenever you create a new machine, it will have the exact same configuration. So base box is the first and the basic requirement once you have Vagrant installed on any of the machine on which you want to work with Vagrant. And once you have the base box, you need to run this command called Vagrant up. What Vagrant up does is it first uses the base box. Along with that, you have something called Vagrant file, which we will take a look at one of the later videos. Vagrant file has all the information and directives and instructions to create the machine which you are going to work with, and it uses that base box which you have specified in that Vagrant file, and then it spins up the machine as per the instructions given to you. Now Vagrant architecture has two important elements. One is the providers. Now providers are nothing but the actual virtualization platforms which we have been working for so long now, like VirtualBox or VMware or AWS. Even Docker can be a provider for Vagrant. So what happens in case of if you are using a VirtualBox as a provider, Vagrant will create a VirtualBox machine for you at the back end. If you're using a VMware, let's say Fusion or Workstation, it will create a VMware virtual machine for you at the back end. If you're using AWS as your provider, then it will spin up an EC2 AWS instance for you. Similarly, if you're using Docker as your Vagrant provider, then the moment you run Vagrant up, it will create a Docker container for you as per the requirements given inside the Vagrant file. The second aspect of Vagrant architecture is the provisioners. Now provisioners are the traditional configuration management tools like Chef or Puppet or Ansible, or they can be the existing shell scripts inside your company or the project. Most of the companies out there or most of the projects out there, they have these shell scripts and Perl scripts and typically known as provisioning scripts which help you with the initial configuration of the machine. Once you have the bare metal machine created, you run this provisioning scripts to get the desired configuration done for the machine. It was the kind of initial form of automation once your provisioning process was done in a manual way. So even those things can be integrated with Vagrant if the need is there. So in this lesson, we learned about what is Vagrant, why we should use Vagrant, and we discussed about the Vagrant architecture. We will continue to talk about Vagrant in the next couple of videos to understand more about it, and we will have a couple of hands-on demo as well. So do raise a ticket if you have any questions, and thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.